Welcome back to another episode of Psycosmos. Today we're talking with Thomas Berard, who is from Australia, and he's going to give us a little bit of lessons in spirituality, Moldavite, and a couple other things. Stay tuned for more. Hey Thomas, nice to meet you. I'm Matt from
Nice to meet you guys too.
Yeah, I'm from Psycosmos. This is Tyler from Psycosmos. We're really excited to have you on the show. Thanks for coming and joining us for a little while, talking with us.
No problem.
Yeah. So
thanks for inviting me on this. It sounds like a pretty cool opportunity, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we like to talk with people, in their spiritual journeys. We like to get a lot of good information from people, have good conversations and topics and stuff. I saw a lot of your. You have some really awesome videos on your TikTok.
Thank you.
Are you doing like video editing and stuff for that, or do you pay?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I do like almost all the video editing things for that, all in like on my computer, and sometimes I just edit all on my phone, and it comes across like it's pretty good.
Awesome. So. That's really cool. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I was really admiring it because we're also in filmography here too. So did you go to school for that, or is it just a self-taught thing?
Just a self-taught thing.
Yeah. I'm more of the self-taught route, and he actually has his BA in filmography.
Nice.
He has a lot of professional experience. We have a documentary that's going to be coming out on May.
What's it about?
It's about one of our members went to China a couple years ago for a Chinese reality TV show about taking care of pandas. So we made a documentary about his experience with all the footage that they had from the TV show. So. Nice. It just kind of goes more in depth, and we're from America, if you couldn't tell, by our lazy looking eyes and poor expressions and lack of empathy. So
whereabouts in America are you guys
we're on the East Coast. We're in North Carolina.
Nice.
Yeah, we're originally from New York. Which everybody knows New York. Not in the city, more upstate in the mountains. And we lived there pretty much our whole lives, but with everything.
Both of you did?
Yeah, and actually all four of us who are on this team. Yeah, we predominantly lived in New York for the majority of our lives, but I lived in the South for a little while because my parents split up, so I got a little bit of a culturally enriching experience, and I moved back up to New York to work in the city, and I was working Wall Street for a while, and then I moved back down here with all these guys roughly around the time that the pandemic started. So we got the hell out of there because it's just, you don't want to.
I just don't want.
Yeah, I'll be blunt with you. In America, you have two sides of this epidemic. You have the people who are basically in the more northern states who are very compliant. They do anything the government tells them, which isn't always bad all the time. But but when it gets to a point where they're losing their rights and they can't do basic things, that and not only that, but people in New York, I don't know if you know this, but people in New York have a reputation of being very angry and upset at the world. So
I've seen it all on the TV media and stuff like that.
It's true. It's a very honest stereotype, to be quite frank with you. People in New York, a lot of the time, they live in a bubble. It's very similar to California. They live in a bubble where they don't get too many different perspectives on life because they don't like to talk to or engage with anything that goes beyond what they think. So we all just kind of decided as a collective, we try to be extremely open-minded. We have people from all across the world, all across different types of ethnicities and cultural backgrounds, and we wanted to go more down a path of spiritually enriching ourselves. That's kind of why we started this team years ago, and now we're here. So I also have to preface, I talk a lot, so if at any point you want to interrupt me and just tell me to shut the hell up, just do it.
It's all good. I speak so much. Like when I'm on the topic of spirituality, I do not stop. Like when I'm around my friends and I just start talking, they're like, oh, he's not going to stop. He's just going to keep babbling on about things that have happened in his life or things that are just happening spiritually around him that they can't see because they're not awake yet. And
right.
It's just, we
feel you.
Exactly.
We feel you.
We're so passionate about it because it's just like, it's such a big thing in our lives because we're seeing something that a lot of people just can't see, but like we're just awakened, and that's just something that we have to deal with, the backlash that we get from that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the world is definitely waking up over time, but I know what you mean. We have a lot of friends and we have a lot of family members too, where it's difficult to have these types of conversations with them.
Definitely.
Because I mean, you know, they kind of look at you like you got 12 heads. It doesn't make any sense to them.
They're looking at you, they think you're crazy. They think you're out of your mind. I'm like, no, we're not. We obviously, it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's like, it kind of makes me feel, it makes us feel good, because it's just like we know some knowledge that we want to educate people, but they're just not wanting to listen, so they're fully closed-minded to it. But it makes me happy to see people like you guys that are so open-minded to this sort of stuff, and it means that I'm not alone, you guys are not alone, and we've got a big community of us which is growing. It's a growing community as well. Like you guys have seen on TikTok, and how that, you know, the spiritual community on TikTok has just expanded like throughout the, you know, from COVID, because everyone's locked in their own, like in their own rooms, you know, locked in their own minds, and we're finally understanding how to harness our minds to the greatest abilities. So
absolutely, cool. You know, that's very well said. I think on the topic of that, I think people who have been stuck at home, you know, COVID has done something really impressive for me, other than, you know, shut down a bunch of governments for practically no reason. The big thing for me is the emphasis on people's relation to fear, and the fear of the unknown. Because regardless of what side you take, there are some extremists who claim that, you know, COVID straight up doesn't exist. There are some extremists that claim, no, this is the end of the world, like COVID's going to kill everybody. And then you have most people who are somewhere in the middle. But when it comes to this pandemic that has occurred, I find it odd to find people's hyper obsession with fear. And I think it kind of shows, you know, the amygdala working in the brain of releasing all those stress hormones and those fear hormones into people. Some people are choosing to double down and stay as closed-minded as they possibly can, because they're afraid of questioning anything that's outside of their understanding. So they'll see all these big scary terms, and they'll see all these doctors on television saying this and this and this, and a whole bunch of other things, you know, regarding vaccinations and everything. And people are so afraid because they're ignorant, is really what it comes down to. They're not willing to do their own research. They're not willing to put in the effort to find out what's truly going on in the world right now, because it's not just a disease-related pandemic. This is a multi-governmental, multi-religious, you know, mostly money emphasized, but there are also deeper things that are there, driven pandemic to cause people to be afraid. And the one thing I would tell people at home, regardless of where you stand on the whole thing, is fear is the thing that's going to kill you, not the disease. Because as I'm sure you know, Thomas, you know, fear and stress actually make you more sick than almost anything else. And when you're really stressed out, that's when you're more likely to get sick, rather than if you're happy and healthy and you're doing everything that you can to stay active. The chances
your mind spirals, it just, what you feel and you intend into your reality will manifest itself. So as you were saying before, if you're like negatively minded and you just don't, you know, think positively about, you know, the world, negative things are going to occur in your reality, which will then spiral you down further and further into this low vibrational frequency. And it's sad how you see so many people all across the world, because of the pandemic, are really spiraling down. It does inflict onto the collective consciousness on everyone. So right now we're not really treating the world the best way. So we're all in this really low negative state of mind, and it's just sad to see. But people like us, we're trying to understand that there is this sort of control, that when you start thinking positively, we can then start raising our vibrations, and then the whole world will be a happy place. But some people just don't want to listen. So
beautifully said.
It's tough.
No, really beautifully said, because that's exactly our philosophy here too, is, you know, even on the topic of vibrations, you know, your whole body, if people at home who are listening don't know this, your whole body vibrates constantly. That's why you have a heartbeat and you have brain waves and everything else. And you have all this energy pulsing through you at all times. And the lower your vibrational energy, the easier it is for, and this is a scientific fact, whether people want to admit it or not. You can think a lot of great doctors like George Carey and I think her name is Ira Perry. Her last name is Perry, Dr. Perry. You can thank a lot of these doctors who have found that the lower that your emotions are, the higher your stress levels, the easier it is for germs to permeate through cell walls and to be able to take over your body. This is a scientific fact. So people might not want to agree or admit it, but they even say light and vibrations to some degree can help cure cancer and to help get rid of heart disease and things like that. So this is not like on our topic of talking about it, when we discuss these types of things with people, they look kind of like we're crazy. We're trying to put in a lot of the missing puzzle pieces because they really don't understand, and that's okay. It's fine if they don't understand, but what they don't realize is because of their own laziness or fear or ignorance or what have you, they're deciding to harm the collective unconsciousness, which is why the world has been deteriorating over time over these last few months. So if there's one thing I could tell the people at home, it would be, if you really want to be somebody who fights this pandemic, don't be screaming at people who are in public to wear a mask, or don't be screaming at people in general. You have to stay positive, and you have to keep your own emotions in check and not be afraid of this pandemic. I mean, even if it were the Black Death, that still, I would give the same advice. The emotional state of yourself often leads to you getting sick. So keep those vibrations high and stay happy. That's what I would tell people at home. But
that's the perfect thing to preach. That's really good.
Yeah, I wanted. Go ahead.
You go first. No, you go first.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you. Well, since we're still on the topic, I was going to shift topics, but I want to know what you have to say. Go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I was going back to the thing about, how vibrations affect everything. Have you seen the diagram where some scientists, they like started playing some with speakers, talking to some water droplets?
Yes.
And they watched it, they freeze and crystallize,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that they said to it crystallized and manifested into like a beautiful sort of thing. So they're saying, I love you to the water, and then it made this beautiful little thing. But then some people I hate you, I want to kill you, and the water just did not crystallize in a beautiful manner. It was corrupt. It just the vibration did not allow it to crystallize in a beautiful form. And that is just a smaller form of what we can do to the world around us.
Right.
So
beautifully said. No, that is cool. So there's actually I think there's a documentary. They have it on Gaia TV. It's I think it's called like The Memory of Water or something like that. I've seen that, but I saw that on YouTube because they also put it on YouTube. There are also a couple other videos. A lot of these come from Japanese scientists and British scientists who did a lot of studies. Back in like the 90s and I think even in the 80s, maybe I'm wrong on that timeline, but they had a lot of really interesting experiments that came out on playing music to plants. And what they found on a deeper level over the last probably 15 years or so is it's not necessarily the plants, it's more so the water that's within the plants. So they found, and you're exactly right, what they found was, and a lot of this is thanks to the Japanese doctors and scientists who were doing this type of research for probably over the last 10 years. They found that different vibrational frequencies, depending on the hertz and the ohm and everything else of the frequency of the sound wave, those can affect the shape and the form of water. And the importance of this is if you can actually play something that is pleasing, I don't know a better term, but pleasing to the water will actually, like you said, crystallize or even change its shape to some degree, its genetic shape to some degree, so that it will assist in giving you the nutrients that you need better than water, which is, basically been sitting in plastic in the sun in the heat for, 2 weeks straight, with all these people going in and out of Walmart screaming and shouting and carrying it on,
Have you guys tried talking to your water?
Yes.
As weird as it sounds,
it's true.
A cup of water and you just talk to it and you just put positive intentions into it, and you transfer your energy into it, and then you drink it, and it
tastes more refreshing. It tastes more refreshing.
It does.
And that could just be a placebo effect thing that people speculate on, but
here's the thing, the placebo, everyone says that the placebo equals a fake reality, but it's hard to explain because when you do something or you believe in something and then it happens and everyone's just it's just a placebo. The placebo is practically reassuring the fact that something did happen, and you're still saying the placebo, it still made the reality happen.
True.
So regardless if it is a placebo, a reality still happened where the water tasted better when you drank it, or when you manifested it and it actually happened, and they said it's a placebo. The placebo is, it's working because it's not it's not a negative thing that the placebo happened. Or does that sort of make sense?
No, that makes 100% sense, because I was actually going to comment on that. You're exactly right. With everything revolving around people using the placebo effect as an excuse for saying, spiritual things don't have a lot of scientific evidence. Well, actually, it's the contrary, because most of the time when you look at placebo effects of things, it's in some kind of medication trial where they will give two people who are sick with the same illness, one a placebo and one the actual drug that will cure them, and both of them will be healed, one by medicine and one by the power of the mind. So the question is it really necessary to even take the medication if it comes down to the pattern and the brainwaves of the mind and the decision that you're already being healed? That's the beauty of it.
I feel like modern medication it's making more harm to your body than it is.
You're 100% right, and you're 100% right. That's regardless of wherever you live too, because I can tell you as an American, people. I know plenty of people in my family who have died because of negative negative attributes of drugs, which were basically peddled as a healing, like a magical potion. Well, your doctor says, the professor, the prophet, he says to take this medication, it's going to heal you, and then it ends up just killing them anyway. So and meanwhile they're just getting off with money, so
that's all it is. They just want money. It's not about us, it's about them, and that's how they see the world. It's like, no, we need to have the mindset where everything's for each other, and it's wrong. Yep. And also, sorry, going back to the medication thing, you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard, but the dandelions, the health benefits of
I haven't found any. As soon as I found out about that, I learned about that like maybe a month or two ago, and I've been looking outside looking for it. Like, where can I find?
And they're gone. They're
gone. Yeah, they're all gone now.
Actually, there's none at my house either, which is very weird. It's like as soon as we want them, they're gone.
Yeah, is that weird? Like the whole time I've been pulling them out of the ground because I've been told that they were weeds. And it turns out, for the people who don't know what we're talking about at home, apparently dandelions are extremely, extremely rich in a lot of really important vitamins. But it makes sense, because anything that it resembles the sun a lot of the time, any spices or salts that are in coincidence with the sun, and much more in like a metaphysical sense, those things often have some of the greatest health benefits to humans. For example, cinnamon is often attributed to the sun, and cinnamon has wonderful health benefits. Like, not going to Dunkin' Donuts and getting some kind of cinnamon sugar latte or whatever. We're talking like raw cinnamon and stuff like that. And also I think ginger root might be another one too. I could be wrong on that, but those types of things, they give extremely positive benefits. So dandelions,
organic medicines, things that are grown from the ground, from the earth, they're so much better for you than taking some medication that's been formulated in a lab. It's common sense, and it's actually quite sad how people have lost touch with that idea, because we'd be the state of humanity would not be in a more negative state if we started going to plant medicines, because we'd start understanding the health benefits in that, and believing in it, which would then make it so it will actually happen. It's just a lot of people need to catch on to that idea, because it's having these drugs all through our system that are really bad for us, and Panadol as well. It's terrible for you, and people still take it. It's just it frustrates me sometimes just to think about it, because people are just digging themselves a deeper hole, and they're not doing the research. They can't be bothered to do the research to actually want to make change in their life or change in other people's lives. And I reckon if people started catching on, the world would be in the health state of the world, and how everyone is feeling would just be better.
Right. Well, the current world and societies all around the world, regardless of where you come from, are set up to fail by people who are much wealthier than the common 99% of people. And one of their big goals is to make people really miserable, so that we are kind of basically slaves to them. I mean, if you can convince people and you can direct people so that they don't have any true knowledge and true wisdom, and you can almost, brainwash them to a sense to believe that they have to rely on, the wealthy, the governments of the world, the politicians and the world leaders, if you want to even call them that. The more that they flex that amygdala and release fear and stress hormones, the worse that the world is going to get for the collective, and the better it's going to get by enriching the rich's pockets. So that's one of the big things. But it's also beyond money too. But it's also in a spirit. It's also in a spiritual sense. They really want to lower the collective consciousness that we all share together, because the lower that is, the easier it is for them to manipulate,
to thrive.
And thrive.
Do what they want.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. So it's interesting how we're seeing this pandemic unfold, because you have people who are vehemently opposed to a lot of it, and there are people who are just going right along with it and thinking that everything is fine. And well, we'll see where we're going to end up in a couple of years. I think from here. Yeah.
Are you guys pro-vaccine, or what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so we're not necessarily anti-vax, but truth be told, and I think this is the first time we've said it on the channel, we're not really interested in getting the new vaccine for a number of reasons.
I respect that, because personally, I'm only going to get the vaccine if it's completely necessary. Right. If I don't need it, I'm not going to get it. Like I've seen countless conspiracy theories about possible things that like microchipping and all that. To be honest, I don't know if I believe them. Right. I can't tell until I do get it, or I'm going to do it until it's completely necessary. And I reckon a lot of people should do the same. If it's completely necessary to do it, if you need it for your job, if you need it to travel, I reckon then you should get it. But if you're if you can be safe, for example, I'm in Australia and there's not many coronavirus cases. Like, for example, in the state that I'm in Perth, there's a single case, and that happened yesterday, 2 days ago, surprisingly. And everyone's in lockdown just from one case. So I don't think there's a point for me to get the vaccine.
Australia is one of the best countries that have been doing well so far. So I would say you don't need it personally. I'll say this though. So the microchip thing, I think, popped up because of patents that were kind of filed by Microsoft and a bunch of other ones that specifically detailed that. But I agree with you. I don't think the vaccines that have been coming out by Pfizer and Moderna and AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, I don't think those are this biochip thing that people are propagating. Now, does that mean that in the future that's not going to happen? I think in the future there's a bit. If you see Microsoft coming out and saying we're making a vaccine, I would never get that vaccine. That would
I would.
Because that's too sus. Exactly. So I would have to agree with you there. I don't think it's a biochip thing. I think that a lot of these conspiracy theories that get propagated are almost created in a sense, sometimes out of pure accident. By people who are just extremely skeptical. But a lot of the time, these conspiracy theories are created by governments themselves to kind of take away from what's really going on. And I think, if you want my personal opinion, these are the base facts of the vaccine, regardless of if the viewers at home, whether you believe that there's a biochip in it, or if you believe that it's the leaky vaccine. That's another theory that's been popping up, the leaky vaccine, which is just as a quick explanation, it's basically you get vaccinated and then you're basically a walking spreader of COVID rather than a fighter of COVID. So that's one called leaky vaccine. There's some not really evidence, but there's some speculation there. This is the base facts of the vaccination that we have going on right now. A normal modern vaccine takes roughly anywhere between sometimes for a very easy virus, 3 years. Most of the time it's like 5 years to 10 years to develop. This is not only a brand new virus, which apparently, according to many world governments, and if you want to be, like this, and you want to trust the CDC and the WHO, they've been claiming that, coronavirus, this has only been like a 2 or 3 year thing. This isn't a big deal. They are claiming that, that we can develop a vaccine within a year for this brand new virus. when we can't even develop a vaccine for the common cold or the flu or any of these common things. And then the second thing I want to point out is this is not a normal vaccine. Normal vaccines were a one-shot booster, which contained a strand of the virus as well as the antibodies that the body required to copy, or something similar to that effect. I'm sure some doctor is going to get in the comments and tell me I'm wrong. But basically, it was a one-shot booster that contained a part of the virus that you would put in your body so that your body would recognize what it is and fight it. That is the claim by the modern scientists. mRNA vaccines are not like that. mRNA vaccines go into your DNA, regardless of what Snopes and all the fact checkers say. It already has been confirmed by plenty of other scientists and doctors and well-established organizations, medical organizations. This changes your biological structure. The patent for mRNA changes the DNA within your body so that it can pretend like coronavirus is already in the body and structure it so that you already automatically create the antibodies. However, there's been a lot of issues with this. For example, people who are, especially in people who are obese or are not fully healthy, they are experiencing very negative side effects going all the way to death because of this. And they're trying to brush it under the rug as best as they can. But at the end of the day, these vaccines change your DNA structure to some extent. Now, does that mean that it's safe or unsafe? I'm not a doctor. I can't give medical advice. However, for people who aren't really at risk and for people who aren't super concerned with getting sick, I haven't been sick in over 2 years. And that's because of the practices. That's because of the practices that I take in on my own right. That's because of the things that I do for myself and my body. I never got COVID. At least I don't think I got COVID. I never had any symptoms. And I haven't been sick since I've started this spiritual journey for myself and doing a lot of modern practices. So
nice.
Yeah. So I think that it really depends on the individual. I'm not going to tell people what to do, but my reasoning for being skeptical, that doesn't mean that I would never get the vaccine either. It just means there are people who are actually fucking dying and they're dropping dead like flies. They're developing horrible symptoms and horrible responses to this vaccination.
Like even the blood clotting and stuff like that.
Right.
Like,
yep.
That's pretty, like to know that that is a real side effect of the virus, or like the possibility that you could get that. It's, I don't know, it adds some level of risk to it in terms of getting the vaccine.
Right. And that's the big thing is, what are you putting into your body really? This thing was developed in about a year. And there are the science of it, not the skeptical, not the conspiratorial, the science of it. And my family got vaccinated and they didn't have any negative side effects. And they're much older than me, and quite honestly, some of them are very unhealthy. But they didn't develop what's seemingly any negative side effects, which is good. And I'm very thankful for that. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that they are the same as myself. And I'm more than confident that I could handle it, but it's more so I don't want to take the risk when I'm not at risk. I would rather not put something into my body which is unnecessary, because if everyone in my family is already vaccinated, even if I carry the virus, it doesn't matter, because they're vaccinated. So if I want to take that risk upon myself, I think it makes sense for me to do so. Again, everybody's different. They can have their own different ideologies. I personally right now, seeing as how both AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson got pulled from the United States government, they're not even having those in our country anymore. That's 2 out of the big 5 that were 6 really that were developed. So we can't get the Sputnik one or whatever the Russian one is called, and we can't get the Chinese one either. Not that I would want to take the Chinese one. So we're left with Moderna and Pfizer, and both of them still have cases of people who are developing negative side effects. So that's where I stand on it. Yeah, that's where I stand on it. I think the logical thing that anybody who's a critical thinker would know is, if it's not a requirement for your life and you're not extremely at risk, does it make sense for you to get it just because the government tells you so? Now, do you really want to get your free joint in New York City, and do you really want to get your free Krispy Kreme donut every day because you're vaccinated? And let me ask you, is that really an incentive to put something that's weird into your body? And you should really also be asking, hey, they want to give me weed and Krispy Kreme donuts for getting a vaccine, that kind of seems off to me. It seems like they should be giving me an apple or a salad, but instead they're giving me weed and Krispy Kreme donuts. So
wait, is that a real thing?
My friend, you don't know America if you don't know this. They have it here where they will give you a free donut, like what is it, like every day or every week or something, for like the next year if you get vaccinated. So you got all these. I'm sorry, I'm going to be rude here. You got these fat motherfuckers who are like, I got vaccinated, here's my donut. And they're posting it all over Twitter and Instagram and shit because they think they look cool. And then in New York City, because they just basically decriminalized, well, they've had decriminalization of marijuana, but they just decriminalized prostitution too. They're basically like, hey, anybody can smoke pot. Who cares? It's New York City now. They were giving out free joints in the park. So people were just like, here's my card. Oh, give me my free $20 joint. It's like, really? You're going to sell your potential health and life longevity for $20 worth of weed? Get a job. How about that? Get a fucking job. Exactly. Okay, like seriously.
That's actually insane. I did not know that.
It's America.
They're trading off donuts and weed for vaccinations. That's a bribe and a half. I don't know what they're trying to achieve with that.
That's the question. What are they trying to achieve? They're really trying to incentivize people. Like, these people are so stupid. They're gonna go out and get free donuts and weed, and that's gonna ease their tensions while we stick them with whatever the fuck we feel like. That's where I'm coming from. Like, if we didn't have these incentives, and I was seeing people drop left and right from COVID, I'd be like, yeah, okay, stick me. I'm fine with it. Yeah. I'm not seeing that. I don't know anybody personally. Not saying that there aren't people who've died. Of course, people have died from it.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody personally who I've surrounded myself who's even really gotten the virus or died from it or had any negative adverse effects from it. Doesn't seem like a big priority to me. I'm rambling on about it, and I know YouTube is going to flag this video, so maybe we should move on to a different topic because they're going to say that I'm pandering false information. I'm just trying to get people to be critical thinkers. Does it make any sense? Does it really make sense?
To think for yourself and not think for the government. It's just you have to really, if you want to have individuality in life, you've got to really make these sorts of decisions, because we're not going to judge you and see you lesser of a person if you want to get the virus.
Absolutely.
We just want you to think for yourself and think, is it a good idea to risk getting this jab? Sorry,
vaccine.
We call it a jab vaccine. If it's not necessary. So
that's really what it comes down to: necessity, risk, and also I have to say, I think the number one thing that's determining people to get this vaccine has nothing to do with the virus itself. And this is the last thing I'll say on it, and then I really want to talk about Moldavite with you. The one thing that I think is really determining people to get this is their belief system, their faith in the scientific community. And I'm using faith as the term because 99.9% of these people lining up to get the jab don't know the science. They are just saying, no, these doctors wouldn't lie to us. These doctors would never lie. All of them are good. The government's good. We have to live in a community where everything we're told is the truth. So just stick me, doc, because I know that you would never poison me. And that's how people die, is when they trust other people rather than their own self-judgments that they can make by doing their own research. But hey, free Krispy Kreme donut. But free Krispy Kreme donut, though. I mean, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. So yeah. Okay. Well, anyway.
No, that was a very valid point. Like what you said there.
Thank you.
Because it's too risky. I don't know.
Yeah.
People need to listen to, like, obviously I'm a full science nerd. I trust all scientific facts.
Me too.
But also a lot of the time there's a lot of things that are placed in front of scientific facts to blur the lines between what's good and what's bad. And that's what a lot of modern schemes do in order to really sell certain things.
Snake oil salesman. Snake oil salesman is the term for people who are selling something that doesn't really work. And I listen, I'm fully on board with you on the scientific fact thing as a basis. I mean, I went to college, so science is a really big part of that. There are two big things that people who are really big into science need to understand. One thing is science was reinvented from a lot of metaphysical things. So, for example, the ancient people who were very, very intelligent, these people developed the systems of calendars, time, the modern scientific equivalent. The alchemists of the day were chemists today, right? Yeah. They had 4 states of matter: earth, wind, water, and fire. We just renamed those to solids, liquids, gases, and plasma.
Yeah,
Everything has just been reworked and renamed. So it's not like these people were stupid. It's just we put different terms on them as if we're speaking a different language. They knew the same exact shit that we did. That's the first thing. The second thing that people need to keep in mind is that there are so few actual scientific facts. Gravity. Everybody knows gravity exists. It's still a theory. We
don't know what it is.
It's still a theory. It's called the theory of gravity. The theory of gravitational force. Isaac Newton's theory of gravitational force. It hasn't been fully proven yet. It's not a scientific fact. And
that's the same with things like dark matter. Like we know there's a force there, but we don't know what that force is. But people are so they're closed-minded to think that, you know, things like spirituality, energy doesn't exist when we know that there's a force out there called dark matter that we don't know what it is. Right. Like, could the missing link just be right in front of our faces the whole time? And
Right. And most of the time, very well said, Thomas. Most of the time when it comes to scientific facts, you know, I actually started, when I started my college career, I started as a chemistry major. That was the thing that I chose. I studied the periodic table. Let me tell you, the people who created the periodic table must have been the most boring fucking people on the face of the planet. But they put in so much effort. You have to be incredibly intelligent to be able to understand that whole entire table. Like not all the mechanics of it, because the mechanics are also difficult. But there are chemists and scientists who know the whole spectrum and the whole table,
like back to front, and they understand all the properties of every single atom. And like, it's just insane.
Yeah, and that's impressive. And not only that, but like atomic structures, right? So we've been taught like Jimmy Neutron. I don't know if you know what Jimmy Neutron is, the TV show. It was a Nickelodeon American TV show. But
I know Jimmy Neutron. That brings back memories. I haven't heard that in ages.
But they always showed like the atom, right? They always showed the atom as like a round ball with all these like loops and wires,
electrons flying around them.
Right. Well, that's not accurate.
Yeah,
that's not what an atom is.
Near what it actually represents.
What a real atom looks like is a torus field, which is a cycle of energy, right? Mm-hmm. So, but people don't know that. They think that little ball is what makes up everything. It's not. It's just a very basic interpretation to show people a very almost cartoonish type of atomic structure, because number one, I personally believe part of it is to make it so that you don't really know what it looks like. But the second part of it,
definitely,
the second part of it is because people would ask too many questions or maybe possibly get confused. This is what a lot of scientists say. And that's just the wrong way of thinking about it. People need to look in deeper into what these things actually are. But the scientific community a lot of the time has this assumption, well, if you're not a scientist or a doctor, you're fucking stupid. We're not going to tell you what's actually going on. So so that's the big problem that is with the modern scientific community.
And that's why we always reassure people to do their own research when it comes to like understanding the fundamental things about life. You want to understand the basics of just quantum physics, because it's not actually that difficult. When you wrap your head around it, things just like fall into place. Like, oh, that makes sense. It's not too hard of concepts. Like, it does baffle me that a lot of schools don't teach these sorts of basic quantum physics and how energy and vibration is every single thing in the universe. But they just teach us that everything is made up of these little balls. Yeah, that's what they say.
That's all they're it's just little tiny balls you can't see. No, when you go deeper beyond that, you get to the quark level, I think, and then when you go beyond quark level, you get to Planck level. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm mixing up Plancks and quarks. I'm pretty sure Plancks are smaller, but they are.
Planck is the smallest length that you can reach in this universe,
as far as we know so far, right? And Planck level is all vibration. It's literally it's just at the smallest level that we understand things. It's all vibration and light. It's those two mechanics, vibrations and light. And light can also be a vibration. So everything at the end, it's both a wave and exactly. So everything at the end of the day is actually a vibrational frequency. Some are stronger, some are weaker, and your mind is a magnet that can actually, with the power of your thought, can change atomic structure. So anytime over the last couple of years, and this is a great advice to everybody, including yourself, anytime over the last few years where I've woken up and I'm like, oh, my throat's kind of itchy, or I'm like coughing a little bit, I just immediately flip a switch and I say, I'm not sick, I'm fine, and then it will go away. It will go away. It does, because
it's actually quite scary how it works. Like when you tell your body, like if your body has like something painful happen to you, or not like a cut, because that obviously has to heal with, you know, physical healing, but whether it be a stomach ache or a headache, if you start like, if you think, oh no, it's just going to keep getting worse, and you keep treating it like you sit in your bed, and it's just, no, it's not going to work that. You have to actually go on with your day thinking, okay, I'm going to get better. This is a temporary thing, and my brain is going to overcome it. And surely enough, within 5 minutes, it's gone. It's like, wow, it's that easy.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised too, because you'll the thoughts that you have will create something in the physical reality. So if you tell yourself, I'm fine, I'm going to be fine, well, I'll just go drink some water and I'll get some sunlight, and that'll probably change it. And rather than sitting there thinking, like you said, oh my God, it's only going to get worse, you're not going to make those conscious decisions to try to better it. You're going to just sit there and try to like focus on it more and more and more, and it's only going to make it worse.
Just going to spiral downwards.
And it's all about the spiral. That's correct. So yeah, very well said. I like these conversations. Like I said, I already know YouTube's going to flag this for saying that we're spreading misinformation about COVID, because that's just what YouTube does.
Do you reckon there's a way to like possibly like edit out, or?
I could. I'm not going to.
Just leave it in there.
Yeah, I don't care. We're already shadow.
We need to educate people. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We're not spreading false information. We're just trying to speak, you know, a type of truth, a perspective, a different perspective on the situation.
No. We can't do different perspectives, Thomas. No. That's not allowed. That's not allowed in the new pandemic world. No different perspective. Just one perspective.
And it's the governmental perspective. It's not the government. You're a bad person.
That's right. That's right. It's all about the money.
All about the money.
That's right. So, capitalism. That's what it is. It's even worse than capitalism. Capitalism is right, but it goes even beyond that. It's monopolization. It's monopolization.
Turning everything into money.
Because here's the reality of capitalism. You know, no matter how much you strive in a capitalistic world, you will never defeat the monopoly. You will never, ever be able to defeat the trillionaires that exist in a capitalistic world.
Jeff Bezos.
Oh, worse than Jeff Bezos, my friend. Jeff Bezos is pocket change compared to the actual richest people in the world.
Like that's just the top, like the pyramid.
Yeah,
like
the top pyramid. Yeah. Well, we can't even talk about that, or else we'll die. But yeah. It's that.
We've got the FBI at our doorstep.
Exactly. Ooh. It's that top pyramid. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. They Forbes and all these other bullshit artists, they'll claim that they're the richest men in the world.
But they're not. They don't compare.
500 billion is a drop in the bucket compared to what the richest people in the world have. You're talking hundreds of trillions of dollars, close to quadrillions of dollars, believe it or not. These people are potentially collectively, they're quadrillionaires. It goes way beyond the amount of money you could even fathom, because the Federal Reserves and the central banks of the world just keep printing money anyway. So it's getting to a point. People really need to wake up to that too, because they think Jeff Bezos is rich. Definitely. Jeff Bezos could be sued and taken down for every penny that he has in a week. He could be done in a week, but he complies, and so does Elon Musk.
He's got money, so he's powerful. That's just how money works.
It is. It's true.
It's very corrupt.
Yeah, it's super corrupt, and we'll never be able to get up to that point, because to get up to that point, you have to sell out. You have to sell out to some degree.
And it's like a generational thing. Like I would say, is it Jeff Bezos? I'm not really educated in how his family has been, but like. Is he the one who started, the riches, or was it his father or like his parents?
No, Jeff Bezos and I think Elon Musk as well both came from middle-class family. No. Yeah. Bill Gates, on the other hand, completely different story. Bill Gates is a fucking con artist, and I'll say that openly. He is, because his father is rich as shit, and it has been for a really long time. And his family has been a part of, you know what eugenics is?
I've heard of it, yeah.
So eugenics is basically, it's like super racism, if you want to think about it that way. It's my family lineage and my genealogy is better than everybody else's. We're superior, yeah. It goes beyond like Nazi Aryan race crap. Like it goes beyond that. I mean, you're saying my family and only my family should be able to survive and thrive, and not yours. That's so
terrible.
so his family has been a part of these eugenic organizations multi-generationally. So Bill Gates is a big founder in most of the modern ones today, along with a lot of people like George Soros, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, people like that, who, names that are commonly said. But even more so than that, going beyond that, Bill Gates himself and his father was rich as shit. I mean, his father was a multi-millionaire. Probably could have even been a billionaire for all I know. But Bill Gates got all of his money to start his projects in Silicon Valley from his father. They like to say he was working in a garage and building all this stuff. Well, he was probably working in a 20-car garage doing it. So it wasn't like a dinky little garage. It was a mansion.
He had all that money to really help him support him. It gave him a leg up, and that's really what brought him to be one of the most powerful people in the world. But same with most powerful.
Right, of course. Well, same with Mark Zuckerberg to some extent. Same with Steve Jobs to some extent. They didn't come from poor families. Jeff Bezos, I think his family were immigrants, but I don't know. He just claims that they were. He claims his father was an immigrant and that they were middle class or something along those lines. I think he's half Cuban. I could be wrong on that, but I remember, I'm in tech. That's actually where my background comes from, is technology, IT. So I look at these guys a lot of the time, or I had throughout my college career. Elon Musk, he's a little bit different because people don't like him. A lot of the rich, wealthy elite don't like him, but he's still in on it. And the thing I would recommend to anybody at home is the more money they have, the less you can trust them. We got for example, all over TikTok, they got Dogecoin blowing up saying, buy Dogecoin, buy this and this, only because Elon Musk has been saying to buy it. And
it's not really going any. It's not going like it's gone up quite a lot. But it's very it's like a gamble if you were to do it.
Well, right now, I think there'll probably be one more pump with it. And I did make a little bit of money off of it, but
really?
Before
okay, that's cool.
Oh, I invest heavily. I try to.
Same.
But I didn't get it because Elon said it. I got it way before Elon. I got it because it's a meme. So, and I like meme. I like the memes. So so I found it funny in that regard. But Elon Musk, he's got some. He's also a sellout. I would say he's much less of a sellout than Jeff Bezos, but because Jeff Bezos Jeff Bezos's role is to kill small businesses. That's what Jeff Bezos his role is in this entire thing. He's there designed to kill small businesses with Amazon. The more people who are using Amazon, the less people are going out shopping at mom and pop shops. On
Amazon, they have like everything. When I say everything, I mean like you can search up anything and it'll probably be on there. But is Amazon the people who make the actual products for it, or?
Right. So Amazon they invested a lot in the last decade into developing and building their own stuff. So they'll have furniture. Anything when you're on Amazon, it says Amazon's Choice is more than likely built and made by Amazon, the corporation. Yeah. And the reason that they're peddling it to you is because they build it in-house for a much cheaper price than their competitors, and then they sell it at a slightly lower price than their competitors, and they make more money. But see, that's taking away from other businesses, that's taking away from other sellers, and it's just putting right. And well, the less small business there is, this is a big part of capitalism too, the less small business there is, the more power it is for the monopolizers. So you're taking power away from the small business owners who are feeding the money back into their communities. That causes the communities to die, and the reliance on things like Amazon and Walmart and the government to increase, because it's the only thing that's left. So
the more powerful people are just getting more powerful, and then people who are wanting to, get more financial stability are just going downhill. It's like this weird thing where it's just like going like that. It's actually quite scary to see how people just have manipulation over society just like that.
I think over time we're gonna start seeing more people wake up and realizing this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I order stuff off of Amazon if I can't find it. But I mean, I think everybody does at this point. But
exactly. It's the thing is, it's a trusted source because you do get genuine good products from it. It's just hard. It's like hard to navigate society with without trying to ignore Amazon, because as I said, like, it's good products, but it's harder to support small businesses and stuff like that. I do understand your perspective.
I try to buy as little Amazon-made products as possible. If I do shop on Amazon, I try to.
But it's completely necessary.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. One thing I want to go to another topic, because one of the things I really want to talk about is you have Moldavite, right? Like you enjoy Moldavite.
Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody who doesn't know at home, Moldavite is a space rock. Yeah, you got, okay, cool. Yeah.
If only I could show it to the camera, but it's attached to my necklace.
Yeah, same here. So Moldavite is an emerald colored kind of green meteorite glass that came off of a large impact cratered meteor comet asteroid from about 14 billion years ago that hit the Czech Republic. And it is by far one of the most powerful stones on the face of the planet in regards to manifesting the lifestyle that you want. Yes. It's a very, now granted, I will also preface this, it is a very dangerous stone because sometimes it can throw you into your destiny faster than you were ready for the destiny to come. So what Moldavite does is it has such a special frequency about it. And I have a piece in my pocket actually as well. I have a piece in my pocket. I have some on my neck. I've worn this I've worn this for as long as I haven't been sick too. 2 years. It's silver. It's a silver 7-pointed star with a piece of Moldavite in the center of it.
Wow.
But yeah, I've been wearing that, and I wear it all over the channel too. If you go back on past videos over the last couple of years. But Moldavite is a very powerful rock, and a lot of people aren't ready for it. I just had a friend in Colorado who bought her first piece of Moldavite, and in the same week she broke her tooth, and she actually lost a tooth. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, crazy things can happen to you if you don't harness the power correctly. You need a lot of high vibrational frequencies and knowledge and willpower, because if you go at it from buying Moldavite and you're in a low point in your life, it's just going to manifest that even worse. So you have to be in a really good positive state of mind. But I wanted to know if you
be mentally stable to get it, because it's going to throw you into the deep end. And to be honest, sometimes it will be a good thing for quite a few people. Because if you're in a high vibrational state of mind, then I highly recommend it, because it's gonna only increase that high vibration that your body is putting into it. So it kind of works hand in hand with your energy. So as you were saying before, if you're in a negative state of mind and you get the Moldavite, shit, no negative things are gonna happen in your life. I'll tell you that. But in the end, eventually, the negative things are going to start, accumulating to make big positive changes in your life. Mm-hmm. So I've seen a lot of people, like parents dying, or like people in their life dying and from getting the Moldavite, which is actually quite scary. And it's happened like an uncountable amount of times in TikTok and stuff like that. Like to think that this crystal actually goes out and actually makes things like people in your life die, it's a very big risk to get. And that's why I only recommend it to you if you genuinely want to get it and you're drawn towards it. Right. If you're not, then you're not ready for it.
I agree with that. And I was when I first saw it, I was very drawn to it. And then we started this channel, and we started our own spiritual journey in that sense. So so for people who don't know, and I think I actually was commenting on one of your TikToks about this, which is why we were it wasn't me, it was my friend Kermit, actually. Kermit T Frog. He was commenting on it. But basically, there was some guy who was like, how could you people believe in this? And I said, it's simple science. These rocks hold vibrational frequency because they are compact tightly together. It's a scientific term called
at the atomic level, the atoms or the atomic structure that they create interlocked with each other so strongly that they sit there and they vibrate really strong, and they emit to everything around them. And that's why a lot of crystals like quartz and that, do you understand the science behind how crystals form? They
spiral in their formation as they're created, but they compact under pressure. But anyway, go ahead and share more if you wanted to share more.
Okay, well, a lot of crystals, like for example, quartz, and have you seen those crystals that look like cubes, and they're perfectly cubular, and you're like, how is that a natural occurring thing? Like if you think about it, like if you look at the atomic structure of those, you know, materials, so especially the cube one, the actual atoms will make like a cube sort of shape. So it's practically a replication of what's happening at an atomic level. So when you look at crystals like quartznat, they are and they actually look quite really beautiful. Actually, they're actually that beautiful sort of nature of the crystals is a replication of just the structure of the atomic at the atomic level. And for example, Moldavite, the actual structure of the tektite is really, really strong, and it's very compact because it was obviously created in a meteorite. So it's gone through all the force and it's crystallized the glass, you know, on Earth from the meteor into like impact, and it's created such a very high vibrational force that it like when you look at it, for example, when I look at it with your third eye is the beacon inside of your brain, which allows you to sense energy. So like you got your eyes, which only senses a very small fraction of the visible spectrum of just energy, and that's what you see, all the colors. But your pineal gland or pineal gland, however you want to call it, that is literally what allows you to see all the other frequencies, from X-rays to beta waves and alpha. You see everything else with the brain, but your eyes. And people, like, it's actually quite crazy how people don't see that people see that like through their eyes, obviously, but they don't see like through their minds. Like, for example, do you guys, when you think about something in your brain, do you see visual pictures, or do you see? Well,
we have not to brag, but we have pretty flexed pineal glands.
Nice, yeah. It just comes through practice. Like it's a muscle that you got to like for example, you see like bodybuilders, they're always flexing on their muscles and stuff, and it's not like an egotistical thing. It's just showing, you know, what your body's accomplished. Right. And we're talking about how we've obviously meditated to the point, or done many things to the point where our pineal glands are really open. They're very strong. And with us openly discussing it, it's not an egotistical thing. You know, it's just showing us that our brains are quite experienced in the field of, you know, seeing with our third eye, which is actually awesome. It's really cool.
I actually want to add a lot to that, because the pineal gland is one of the fascinations of a lot of our research. Pineal, it's called pineal in reference to pine cones, because what it can do is like a lotus flower or a pine cone, it can actually like branch out. And what a lot of people don't know is that it can actually calcify too. So you can calcify with fluoride and a bunch of other things. So a lot of people don't believe that. I got into a discussion once with somebody who's a super science guy, and he said, well, that doesn't make any sense because fluoride, you know, it doesn't have calcium in it. Incorrect. If fluoride gets into your bloodstream, like, you know, if you're flossing or brushing your teeth and you start to bleed in your gums, which is why a lot of toothpaste has fluoride in it, if it gets into your bloodstream, it hits the kidneys and the liver, and the one of those, I believe it's the liver, processes fluoride and creates calcium phosphate in your bloodstream. That calcium phosphate, which is normally not supposed to be in your bloodstream, travels all the way up to your brain and then calcifies your pineal gland. What a calcified pineal gland does basically for the human body is it inhibits your ability to not only manifest the lifestyle that you want, because your pineal gland is essentially a crystal in your brain.
It is. There's tiny crystals found in the DMT crystals that are just naturally produced.
Yes. So it is actually a crystalline structure. Actually, the majority of the brain, other than water and cerebrospinal fluid, is manganese, which is also a crystalline chemical. So your brain is basically a giant crystal. And the importance of this is when you have other crystals in your life which can harmonize, because they're all giving off different vibrational frequencies, because at the Planck level, everything is frequency, but when everything is so compact together with these crystals, just like it is in the brain, they emit a radiation. And if you actually put in positive emotion into the crystals, you'll get positive radiation to a point where it's not like, you know, Chernobyl, where you're gonna start having burned skin and stuff. It's a positive vibrational, it's a positive reactional vibration, which gives you life energy, which is why a lot of diamonds and emeralds and sapphires and rubies are so fucking expensive. And people who don't get that, like, why would they be expensive? Because they're pretty? No, because they have metaphysical properties. And that's why kings and queens and people and magicians and a whole bunch of other people all throughout history wore them and regarded them as sacred and regarded them as blessed by God and the universe and everything else for thousands upon thousands of years. In fact, Moldavite oddly enough, Moldavite is said to be the stone that was riddled all over King Arthur's Holy Grail, even though the Holy Grail story,
Really?
yeah, even though the Holy Grail story is more of, it's more of a physical thing, which is also representative of a biological process within the body. The King Arthur's Holy Grail was supposedly riddled with emerald-colored comet stones, as a lot of different myths say. And the only stone that would fall into that category would be Moldavite. Moldavite was always for many generations, especially going back to the Mesopotamians, the Babylonians, and the Chaldeans, they saw Moldavite as an incredibly sacred, if not one of the most powerful sacred stones. And there's actually a collection of like 12 or 13 sacred stones that most people, I have like half of them. But
really,
one of them's like Danburite. I can't remember.
Yeah, the desert names. Stone. It's like a glass type of.
I've seen that. Yeah, I don't have one, but I've seen. I know what you're talking about. I have some of them actually. They're in my pocket. I'm sorry. They're in my pocket. One of them's like Hecatite, I think. Tanzanite, Danburite. Those are the only few that I have off of my mind, but there's like a whole collection that they say and it's expensive, man. It's like $1,000 just to get your hands
cheap.
On. Yeah, they're not. It's not cheap. But if you collect, if it's like Pokemon, you collect them all, then apparently you become some kind of stone master.
Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah. You become the Thanos. Yeah. But yeah. So it's funny because a lot of people, again, I've talked with people about the science of this on a fundamental, deeper level of the human body. This is something that you may or may not know. DNA, right? So DNA is a double helix, just like the energy that spirals in our body. Everything is a spiral. So it's a double helix, but there's also a middle strand. Just like the energy in our body goes like this. Everything from a small microcosmic level to a macrocosmic level, as you go upwards or as you go downwards, is going to have the similar energetic pattern, which is going to be a spiral structure. So as you have energy kind of coalescing in a spiral around down your body, you have also the spine, which acts as a middle part of the body. So the spinal column, and the brain, just like in the central point of DNA, both made out of crystalline properties. So DNA actually has crystalline structure, which is very similar to quartz crystal. This is from a book called The Cosmic Serpent by Jeremy Narby. The central strand of DNA, because of the way that the proteins are enveloped, the central strand of all your DNA, which runs miles and miles long, that central strand is made out of quartz-like crystalline structure. So that's why your body actually has a way to kind of communicate with these types of stones, not just in your brain or your spinal column, but also all throughout your body in all of your cells that are permeated through your DNA. And also, one of the greatest stones that communicates with water is quartz crystal. So that's why you have so much water in your body, because water and quartz crystal together are very cleansing. So
there's a cool experiment you can do, like when you're saying about quartz and being with the community, like connected with water, like just put like a quartz crystal in water, like in a cup or something, put it in the freezer, and come back to it once it's frozen, and you'll actually see the sort of like the cracks or the crystal imperfections that inside the quartz crystal will be replicated in the actual ice, which is so cool. It's just like showing that the energy that was in the quartz has been transferred into the water and has actually affected the crystalline structure of the water as it crystallized. I don't know, I think that's cool.
No, it's really cool.
That was really on the topic of what you were saying, but I don't know. I thought
no, it was. It actually was, because it goes back to what we were saying about water having memory and everything like that. I want to get one of those bottles. I know they're really expensive. I want to get one of the bottles.
Oh, they're so cool. Yeah,
they have like
they have the column of the.
They have a central column of crystal, and then on the outside it's just water. So you fill it up with water, and then it kind of harnesses the powers of the crystals that you put in there. They got amethyst and quartz. Those are the most common ones. But I mean,
there's like rose quartz ones.
Yeah, let's just put Moldavite in there. Let's see what happens.
Could you imagine? That'd be awesome.
Bunch of Moldavite in there. Yeah.
That'd be like the eternal juice of life. I don't know. That'd be so good.
There you go. We are running kind of short on time here. We're getting close, but I wanted to ask you, since you seem really interested in the topic, do you know do you know, because you would actually really enjoy this. I don't know how often like you meditate or do yoga. I'm imagining you meditate a lot. I don't know about yoga, but have you heard of the sacred secretion, Christ consciousness, Kundalini?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know all about that, and you know about
Definitely.
the chemicals in the brain. Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious if you experiment with that, and if you've had any types of like revelations or any types of visions, or how long you've been doing it, because that's actually a big focus on our channel. It's something that we like to incorporate in our everyday life cycle. So if you had anything you wanted to share on that, or any kind of spiritual stories, now would be the time.
Cool. So like I started meditating like almost a year ago to like this, the start of the pandemic. And that's when I just started meditating every day for about an hour just to pass time. And like I wasn't spiritual at all. Then when I started meditating, I started to see things in my mind, like almost as if I was astral projecting. And I was like, hold up, is this real? But I was like, is it my imagination? But when you found out that your imagination is actually intertwined with the astral realm, it's kind of just like almost the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and from meditating, I almost meditate quite a few times a week. And the revelations that I've had is that, because I meditate to the point where my pineal gland is like really open, and it's almost like sorry, I forgot what I was trying to say. Everything around us is just like full energy. And like to reach that state of consciousness, it's like you almost have to tap in and act like you are everything. Yeah. And you can't like, it's like almost like disassociating your body, your spirit from your body, and almost acting like your spirit is the universe. So when I'm walking through nature or everything, I almost detach myself from my body, and I see from the perspective of the nature. So I would like actually be able to, like, this is me like just walking around whilst sober, I must add. I'll just be walking into the trees, and I'll see from the perspective of trees. I'll see from the perspective of the leaves. I'd feel the wind, even though there's no wind, and it's the wind that's on top of the trees. And sorry, I just hit my elbow. But it's almost like you have to act like you are the universe, because that's what we are. On a basic quantum physics level, we're not just our body. We obviously have a spirit, and we are the atom. We formulate the atoms that make up our body. But because of quantum mechanics and understanding that. Do you guys know about what's the term? I forgot what the term's called, where almost all particles in the universe are connected.
Quantum string theory.
It's quantum string theory, where you're right. Yeah. So everything is fully connected, and we're not separate beings. Like everyone else around me as well, like you guys as well. I'm you, you are me. Yep. We're just one big thing, and we're just communicating with each other. We're the universe, just experiencing the universe from a human perspective.
Right.
And you actually have the ability to see the universe from any perspective, whether it be the perspective of a blade of grass, or the perspective of oxygen, or the perspective of a star 10 billion light years away. You have the ability for your mind to actually perceive that, because you are the universe. And I don't know, with practice of meditation, you are able to actually, with just like the thought of just closing your eyes, I can transport my body and my mind to anything. It's weird. And every human has this ability. It's like, as we were saying before, it's just with more practice and time, you will actually allow your brain to expand and reach this Christ consciousness of everything, and you realize that you are the universe.
Yeah, very well said. No, I really like that. Very, very well said. Is there anything you wanted to add to that? I just realized that I've been talking this whole time. I feel bad.
Okay. Oh, and it's 11:11, by the way.
So yeah. You're right. It is. Yeah. So this is a great time to stop. We could stop right here.
It's a sign.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe, comment down below, and make sure you follow our friend Thomas. Thomas, where can we find you at?
You can find me on TikTok, which is Tomo Berard. I might be able to link it in the description or something.
Yeah,
and you can find me on my Instagram, which is just Thomas Berard, or Tomo Berard as well on Instagram. And I hopefully should be the first two, because I've got two accounts, one a spiritual account and one's for my 3D art, which I do. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. And
no, thank you. This was it was a sick opportunity, and I'm really thankful that you guys reached out to me, because it was fun. I had a great time.
Thanks. All right. Awesome. Well, we hope that you take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too, guys.
All right, awesome.
See you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll see you later. And if you ever need anything, just reach out.
Too easy.
All right,
Thank you heaps.
Yep. Okay. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.